Shortly after the release of an audio recording this past Saturday morning of a conversation that allegedly included
the awful officiating in the WNBA has long been a source of concern. There is much more to it than just incompetence, which has always been used as an excuse. The WNBA may be rigged from the top down, according to a recently leaked audio clip. Right from the commissioner's office, manipulation and meddling are being discussed. All of this explains why Caitlin Clark is being singled out in every game. To support it all, an internal probe has even been launched. But might this be the true cause of the league's silence while Caitlin Clark continues to be harassed?
Come on in.
According to the recording, Kathy Angelbert may have secretly paid a roster of referees. Kickbacks and bribery were linked to the senior boss, Angelbert. Claims of off-book travel stipends and consulting incentives following extremely contentious games. Giving some players royal treatment while ignoring the others is the covert plan. This could be the largest controversy the WNBA has ever had, especially since there have been a lot of doubts about the refereeing in recent games, particularly with reference to a certain Caitlin Clark. Although there are several instances that seem to lend credence to this hypothesis, none are as striking as the last 2 seconds of the Fever vs. Liberty game. After a tactical Fever timeout, the game has just begun in the hopes of a spectacular conclusion. It appeared plausible. Caitlin Clark attempted to position herself for the shot after Sophie Cunningham made a throw-in, but she was harshly stripped off the ball. No foul was called even though there was clear contact.
Screening action down low. Clark has to get open. 1 second left. Clark doesn't get the shot off. Cloud lofts her up. And New York comes into Indianapolis and takes the checkered flag.
And the whole Fever complaint in spite of how crucial that one event was to the game. In the end, the Liberty won 90-88. It's difficult not to question whether the result was predetermined before to the final whistle in situations like that. Not only does it seem unfair, but it also seems planned when clear calls are disregarded in high-stakes games. For the typical Caitlin Clark admirer, the frequency of the calls is becoming so obvious and annoying that they cannot even be justified as human error. From the beginning of her first season, Clark was the target of these cheap shots. She has consistently been the victim of flagrant calls and heavy fouls. The Fever season came to an end in Game 2 of the WNBA playoffs as they lost to the Connecticut Sun 87-81. However, the officiating of that game was what made headlines. Clark attempted a deep three just over 3 minutes into the first quarter, but Dana Bonner's aggressive contest threw him off balance. She glanced directly at the officials, hoping for a whistle, but she received none.
Rebound against Indiana, something Connecticut did very well in the first quarter of Game 1. It's Clark, 3 to shoot. Gonna have to hoist from the logo, an air ball, and Clark wanted a foul. Felt like Bonner ran into her, but a shot clock violation.
Caitlin Clark was subjected to persistent hard play during a difficult 103-88 loss to the Seattle Storm, which the authorities largely disregarded. While setting a screen early on, Storm forward Ezi Magagor knocked Clark off balance with clear body contact, but the referees ignored it. Or the occasion when Caitlin Clark took a few knocks before making one of her insane drives to the basket. The referee didn't even crack an eyelid.
On Sammy Whitcomb with 8 seconds left. Goes around to Gumake. Drives baseline. And shot rejected by Ezi Magagor. Second opportunity is up and in by Nalissa Smith.
The obvious issue is why, rather than defending her, it seems like the WNBA is closing in on the one player who is genuinely saving the league. This is the retaliation she receives.
I don't know how fair that is, but what I will ask you is this. Clearly, her return has obviously generated additional eyeballs. I have no doubt that the ratings are going to show as much. How receptive do you believe the WNBA is going to, I'm not talking about the league, but the players within the league are going to be towards Caitlin Clark moving forward now that we've seen what her absence, what kind of impact her absence?
It's become more difficult to ignore the elephant in the room, even as Caitlin Clark continues to set viewing records. For some reason, even if Caitlin Clark's influence is obvious, it still seems like the league is making a lot of effort to highlight someone else. One player has escaped the drama and harsh treatment Caitlin Clark has endured. She is beginning to resemble the league's favorite with each game and whistle that goes by. None other than A'ja Wilson, the 22nd ranked Las Vegas ace. The WNBA released a masterclass on how to gift wrap an MVP during their most recent encounter, the Fevers vs. Aces game. In that game, Wilson made 13 free throws, nearly as many as the entire Fever team put together. It was worse than that, too. The whistle seemed to sound just in time to slow the Fevers down each time they made a run. The people know their GOAT, and it is not A'ja Wilson, despite the WNBA's desperate attempts to construct a picture of her as a queen and force her on fans. A disappointing 100,000 people watched the full Connecticut Sun versus Las Vegas Aces game on television. It should be illegal for 100,000 people to watch a WNBA game in 2025 with the league's greatest player. The lowest number of viewers for Caitlin Clark this season is 580,000. The WNBA has decided where they will set up shop, but it is extremely evident who influences this league. Sadly, Caitlin Clark's area does not include it. Even coach Stephanie White was unable to remain mute due to the out-of-control situation. She has been publicly criticizing the treatment in her post-game comments.
I thought she got fouled. I think it's pretty egregious what's been happening to us the last few games. A minus 31 free throw discrepancy. And I might be able to understand it if we were just chucking threes, but we're not. We're attacking the rim. And the disrespect right now for our team has been pretty unbelievable.
Even while fans aren't necessarily specialists, they are usually correct in their theories and can tell when something doesn't seem right. The most recent one has to do with money. Consider it. How can one profit from sports? Placing a wager. Some of these referees may be manipulating games to increase winnings. These days, in the world of sports betting, even the smallest incidents, one foul, one missed call, can result in large sums of money. Although the margins are narrow, the profits are not. A basketball referee has previously engaged in gambling on games he officiates. An NBA referee was the last to be implicated in a betting scandal. After utilizing his secret knowledge to make betting selections, many of which were on games he was actually officiating, he was given a 15-month prison sentence. Don Nagy maintained that he never altered the results, but his accomplices disagreed. They wagered mostly on games that he refereed, and they were very successful. Now consider this. If it could occur in the NBA, what would prevent it from occurring in the WNBA, particularly in light of the increased attention, financial resources, and pressure? In actuality, the league starts to lose credibility when players and fans lose faith in the referees. It may be extremely harmful for a league like the WNBA, which is only starting to gain prominence, particularly for WNBA Commissioner Engelbert. Her name has been associated with numerous deals. Some of the more contentious no calls in recent memory have also featured the referees in question.
Clark muscling away.
I mean, is that displacement? I think it is.
Oh, and Marina Mabry's going to get ejected. If the officials saw that, Marina Mabry is going to get ejected.
Well, they're going to go and look at it.
You have to wonder why Engelbert hasn't stood up to defend herself yet, if all of the charges against her are untrue. Why hasn't she been cleared by the media? The league and its reputation will suffer if the WNBA's leadership is untrustworthy. Some supporters have already begun pushing for Engelbert's resignation, and that agenda will get more traction as long as issues like these continue. For the love of the game, we hope that all of this is merely a hoax or that it may be used as a justification for poor officiating. However, they are now more than a few poor decisions. This is undoubtedly more significant. Time is not on their side, so whatever actions the WNBA intends to take to clean up this expanding issue must happen quickly. They don't want to start losing the confidence of their largest financial supporters. Sponsors dislike uncertainty, and they most certainly do not want to be connected to a league whose leadership is the subject of serious accusations that might lead to a federal investigation, especially not a league that takes pride in being a champion for women's empowerment. Some people think that the NBA and Adam Silver should take over the WNBA's leadership and turn the organization around. Even though it would seem like a drastic move, you can't help but ask if the league really needs that. The refs would eventually be held responsible after that action. The supporters would finally begin to feel that their opinions matter since something needs to happen quickly at this time, and the leadership would receive a much-needed reset. Let's lay out all of our cards now. Fans are enraged. Referees are either making or not making gammy-during calls, and one star appears to be getting away with it. You've got leaked communications, internal probes, and a commissioner who so far has been utterly mute as the internet burns. And looming over all of this is a league that is attempting to expand and establish itself while treading carefully on the line between manipulation and legitimacy. This goes beyond Asia Wilson, Caitlin Clark, or a single missed foul. It's about having faith in the game itself, the officials, and the leadership. Furthermore, not just fan support may go if the WNBA does not move quickly. It is the players, sponsors, and the league's overall future. Because you are free to promote empowerment as much as you like. However, if the game doesn't feel fair, players won't play, fans won't watch, and the league won't survive. The question is now straightforward. Will the WNBA maintain order or disintegrate due to its own silence? This is far from over, so stay tuned. Remember to subscribe and like for more.